everything else. Like
Yes.
I want to know exactly where every dollar is so I can know what to pivot, what buttons to push. And then it becomes a game because then you're like, I pick up a point here and I pick up a point here. Now all of a sudden, now I got boom. Now my bottom line's where I need to be.
You should play it like a game, and you should play it where you are the architect of the game, not the player. The player is bound by the rules. The architect creates the rules. Anything that you want to change, you could just change.
You have to change your mindset. I'm not a technician. I'm not a sales guy anymore. I'm not an installer. I am a business owner and I have to run it like a business. Obviously that's one thing, but now you guys are coming in and it's really teaching the intricacies of running a home service business, having trucks on the road, having an office, having a staff, the insurance, all these other things that go into building a real home service business. You want to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing on that side of it? And
yeah, absolutely. So like you were last week, you were at the was dumpster convention or something?
Yeah, the dumpster expo.
Dumpster expo.
I'm
yeah.
the dumpster expert.
The dumpster expo. And you said something on social media that I really agree with, that there's some immutable bylaws of business.
Yeah.
So no matter what business you're in, you need marketing, you need people that answer the phone, you need the labor and the install, and then obviously reviews and retention. So that wheel is the structure of how all businesses work. So whether you're a dentist or a podiatrist or an HVAC technician or a solar company, those are the immutable bylaws of business that are in everything.
So, I mean, I think that's one of the crazy things we talk about marketing and sales. And I think that's like almost like the most taboo thing in our industry. I feel like so many people, like, I just work off of word of mouth. Okay, well, you're broke. Yeah. Nice to know you, right? Or like, oh, we don't believe in sales. And at the end of the day, everything's a sale, right? Like if you're married, you sold her, I'm marrying you.
Correct.
And so like, talking about like when you know, for me, like I deal with a lot of small contractors through Profit Rocket and things like that. And then obviously we partner with companies all over the country. And one of the big things is getting them to change their mindset, right? The mindset is really the key of what you think is possible. And what you don't think is possible is impossible. You want to talk a little bit about that and how do you get these small contractors? Maybe they were a technician, now they turned into, they had an entrepreneurial seizure. Now they're running a business. How do you get these guys to start thinking bigger and better?
Yes. Okay. Well, the first thing is there's no shortage of information. Everybody's a genius now. They have a calculator or they have a wizard in their pocket, ChatGPT, right? There's no shortage of information. There is a shortage of accountability and action. And so understanding that framework is important. The lens that we look through the sales process, we call the God mode framework. So you'll hear me talk about it later today at your phenomenal event. But the idea is that we live in a simulated reality. So your kids playing virtual reality?
No, I don't play that shit.
You don't play your kids don't play virtual reality?
Not a no shot.
Okay, no shot. Okay. Well, the idea is that, look, my kids, I grew up playing Pac-Man, then I played Call of Duty, and then my kids are playing in virtual reality. You push that 100 years into the future, and you're living in a simulated world. And in a simulated world, the way that you look at it is that everything is a level in your business. Like when this podcast, what can I learn about you? And what skills can I acquire from this podcast that is going to help me in the next level? And so when your technicians look through it like it's a game, you see a house and you say, well, I get all these bad calls. That's the mind of an NPC. That's somebody who is a non-player character who just goes in. He's always in the same exact problem. He always gets the bad calls. He always doesn't have a good relationship with his friends or his wife or his kids. When you look at that call through the lens of a player one, everything is a clue. You realize that this is a level and this is a game designed for you to win. And that's the idea of the God mode framework and next level pros is how do you move through the levels by acquiring skills?
Yeah, and I would 100% agree with that. And I think, talking to contractors, I almost feel like everybody wants it all at once, and there is levels. Like you have to you can't just go from home first to home. Like there's other bases you have to hit. And so, I mean, obviously when you break it down like that, it makes a lot of sense. So obviously we can talk about it. We can say everything great in theory, right? Like how do you get them to change their mind?
Yeah.
Like I think that's the, one thing I always talk about is like, I can get people to believe bigger. I can get them to think that way. Like, what would you tell a contractor that's like maybe at, 2 million, he's freaking having a hard time paying himself.
And he doesn't want to sell. He doesn't want to raise the prices.
He feels
it's salesy.
Yeah, feels doesn't want to raise the price. Like, what do you talk to those people? Because I know what I do, but obviously I would like to know what you would say to those contractors.
Yeah, 100%. So if you take the exact model of sales and you just remove the HVAC industry. Let's take it to the veterinarian, okay? What happens in a vet? Call, you say, hey, my dog needs to be neutered. The wonderful receptionist says, oh, what's your puppy's name? That's phenomenal. He's gonna be your kid's best friend for his whole life. Why don't you come in on Wednesday? You come in on Wednesday, you sit down, the nurse comes in and plays with the dog, gives them lots of treats, spikes dopamine with them. So what's the name? How long do you want the dog to live for? How many other dogs do you have? You know, all that business. Then the guy comes in, the doctor comes in and does the diagnostic, right? He exchanges knowledge for trust, which is the biggest factor. This is the breed. This is how long the dog should live for. This is what a healthy dog looks like. And all of a sudden you're starting to learn about this dog and fall in love with it even more. Then they say, hey, look, we got 2 options to neuter this dog, okay? We could do a general anesthetic, which the dog will be awake. We just take this sharp scalpel. It's a little uncomfortable, but we rip its guts out and cut it up. Or we, cost a little bit more money, but you put the dog under and he wakes up happy. Which of those do you want for your best friend?
Dude.
So
my little Zion would, actually I do need to neuter him. So if anybody's listening to this guy, give me a deal on a neuter job. But no, I mean, yeah.
So then after, I was gonna say, so after that, what do? They say, hey, we'd love to see your dog every 6 months to make sure that he's healthy, make sure he gets his shots. And would you mind leaving a review for us so that the other friendly pets have a place to go? That entire model is our system. That's what we do. That's what we do in the house. But when you remove it from HVAC, nobody feels like that's a sale. Everybody feels like that's just the process by which things are done. And when you look at it through that lens, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. But for me, it feels salesy. Well, then it's you. It's not the process, it's you.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things is getting the technicians. And as I go through even our tune-up process and stuff like that, it's like everybody, they come out to my training and they think it's like just sales, right? And then you just realize it's not sales. It's just doing a little bit extra that you're not normally doing.
For sure. And
stepping out of your comfort zone and communicating. But at the end of the day, we're just letting the customer make a decision. I feel like it's our job, right? As our job is to educate them. I always tell my technicians, like, if you went in to the doctor for a checkup today, you're just going in there for a routine checkup and they find out you have cancer. They don't bother to tell you.
Right.
How pissed off are you going to be? Like, you go back in 2 months later, you're feeling sick. Like, oh yeah, well, we saw you had cancer 2 months ago. We should probably start treatment now, but we probably should have started 2 months ago.
Yes, 100%.
It's the same concept. So obviously the sales part of it's one thing. The other thing is trying to get, one of the big things I see that contractors do is they invest in marketing before they're ready. Yeah. Right? They don't have a sales process. They don't have a person to answer their phone. They don't have all these things. And they're like, I'm going to go market. Yeah. Well, you market, but the lead comes in, you don't answer your phone. Might as well not done anything.
Yes. So we see a lot of P&Ls like that where people dump, 8 to 12% into marketing, but they have a 22% close rate. They have a 90% booking rate, which is phenomenal. Yeah. But the guy's going out there and blowing the calls. So it's like, why spend on marketing?
Well, then they're yelling at their marketing company saying the leads suck and all these things. And it's like, they have no predictable outcome. So like one of the big things, like we go into a company, the first thing you want to do is implement a process. Like what do we do inside the home? What happens when we answer the phone? What happens when we go into the home? What's the process that we're following, and getting the guys to really buy in on it. And I think, if you can put a process in place where they don't feel salesy, my process is a little we're really down to the detail of all of the little things to where it makes it the customer's idea, right? Like I never want to have to tell a customer what they do. They should be asking me, what should we do?
For sure.
Right. And if we can get them to ask what we should do, then at that point, you're not really selling. They want to be, and they're informed now. Now they want to make a decision. They want to fix the problem.
Yeah. But the second piece of our sales steps is called exchange knowledge for trust. So this is like, if the customer doesn't understand what the issue is, because you have technicians that talk like, a 70-year-old grandfather, they go like, my daughter Meredith, she's got this friend named Beth, and Beth was actually a hairdresser. Where was that street called? It's like they ramble on and they just start talking, and they think that they're doing a good job because they're talking and not because they have to explain how something works, and then you understand why it's important. And a perfect example, you got young kids, okay? So let's just use this as an example. I told my kid, who's 7 years old, love of my life, hey, you got to clean your room. And he said, what do kids say? What do kids say when you say clean your room?
I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I say, hey, you got to make your bed. And they say,
no.
Why would I make my bed? I'm going to just sleep in it and wake up the next day.
Yeah.
Then as parents, what do we tell them?
You better clean your fucking room.
You better clean your room. This is my house, my rules. Yeah. You clean your room. So in this example, there's no why. It's this person, the kid wants to do one thing, and you're just saying, I want you to do the other thing, but it's not why it's important. And if you told your kid, look, I know that you can't see it right now, but when you do a hard thing in the morning, it helps build the rest of your day. And so this is teaching your responsibility. Hey, when you clean up your house or your room, you feel better. You feel better. You sleep better. You want to bring friends over. It doesn't feel disjointed in here. It's for you. And I know you can't see it right now, but I want you to grow up to be a responsible, successful young man. And this is the first step in that. So at least you understand the why. Yeah. Now they have something to attach it to. It's like the same thing with what we do. If you don't exchange knowledge for trust, then the customer will never be able to move forward because they can't even understand how this thing works or why it's important.
Well, it's even when you're trying to sell your technicians on phone, you have to figure out what's in it for them, right? Like if they don't know what's in it for them, they're not going to buy into it as well, right? Yeah. Like I have the communication with my guys and we come in and all of a sudden they're switching to performance pay instead of hourly pay. And they're like, whoa, you're taking away my money. And no, we're going to make you more money. We have to lay it out and that's a sale too. Trying to sell your employees on doing that as well. And then once they see it and they follow that, all of a sudden they're making money and it changes in the whole perspective, right? And so obviously the sales and marketing part's a big point of it.
I was gonna say the performance pay thing is really interesting. When I was running a shop, everybody asked, like when we had our first $1 million month and the next $1 million month, everybody looks at the money and goes, can I get a $2 raise? Can I get it? And compounded, it makes it unsustainable for the company. So I never trade money for time. I don't think that's a good trade-off. What I do is say, hey, I'm gonna give you opportunity for money. Yeah. Would you rather have $2 an hour more or 2 more calls at a 70% booking rate at a whatever average ticket, or a close rate at a 70% close rate at whatever average ticket? You would rather have that opportunity than an extra $2.
Yeah, and once you can sell them, I think this is like one of the hardest things going into when we partner with companies is getting them to change their mindset, because some of these guys, it's all they've ever known, right? Like we've been at different large organizations, and I think that's one of the blessings I had in my career is starting at Service Champions, where I already had a large organization, and I got to see like how that stuff works. But some of these guys, they've only worked at a mom and pop shop, they've only had a couple of employees. And we try to tell them like, that sounds like that's not possible. And like I always say, like, and when you're trying to make big changes, and I talk to people all day, hit me up, bring your guys out to meet my guys, see what they do. And like, once they see it, then they can believe it, right? But like when you go in there, you tell this company down in, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or down in the bayou, and they've never seen anything like this. And then they're like, that's not possible. Yeah. That's no way. We can't do that here, right? And everybody's like, oh, that won't work in my market. Well,
always.
Guess what? I've trained in almost probably every single market, including Canada and Australia at this point, and it's all the same, no matter where you go.
Yeah, so if you're a business owner and you have people in your organization that are not sales motivated or don't want to help the customer, as we would say, right? You want to help the customer, you don't want to sell. Then you have to say, is that the right person for the business? Is that the right character in my game? And that's a decision you have to make. But if you get rid of those people and you get somebody who wants to help and who's engaged and energetic and curious and empathetic, those people are going to be more successful, and they're going to help your customers and they're going to help your reviews. Again, you go to a doctor and you say, my shoulder hurts, and the doctor says, take Advil, and he doesn't look like you have brain cancer that's impacting your shoulder. That's not helping. So what? You saw a patient, good job, whatever. That doesn't mean anything. Your goal is to help. Your goal is to maximize the outcome for both people. And I think a lot of this is under the theory of game theory. So you have like a non-zero sum game and a zero sum game. A zero sum game is like there's one winner and one loser, like chess or jujitsu or whatever, right? One winner, or football. I should say football. I'm not a sports guy.
I know you're Jewish, but I don't watch sports. But
I got to watch some sports.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, me and Trent went to a minor league baseball game, and of course, he's there, and I'm berating the players, and he's like, are you allowed to do that? I'm like, if you don't do this, you might as well not even come to the game. But he's not a big sports guy, but obviously we can tie it back into it. But that was
the first minor league sports game I've ever been to. I've never even sat that close to players. I didn't know you could, they're professional people. I thought, you gotta respect them. And Victor's like, hey, steroids, how's it going?
I'm like, yeah, you're gonna get some of that money back with that batting average.
That's right.
Fucking bum.
Yeah, and they looked at you.
Oh, they looked at you.
Oh yeah. All the players looked at. They knew your name when they left.
Oh yeah. I mean, you gotta have a little fun in life.
Did our team win or no?
I don't know.
No,
I had fun.
You had fun. So in the game, so most of the technicians have this mindset of a zero sum game. I win if I get the sale, and you lose the customer if I sell you this product. And so they go in thinking like, oh, I got to get the sale, and I don't know if I'm helping the customer all the way. We have to look at it like a non-zero sum game. The goal of a non-zero sum game is like when you negotiate at very high levels of business, you maximize the winning for both people. So your goal is to go in there and offer the most amount of help to this person so that their life is improved. That's how you win the game. And if you have that mindset when you play, it changes the dynamic because you don't feel like, hey, can I sell you this air scrubber? You know, it feels like, hey, what is the reason you would want an IAQ system in your house? And that changes the way that you feel about it and they feel about it.
No, 100%. And if you guys are listening right now and you guys should be taking notes, I mean, obviously all the stuff we're talking about, and everyone, it's just weird because everybody just thinks like it doesn't work for me. It does not going to work for me. Now that sounds cute. Game sounds great, but like I'm not going to get my guys to play the game. Yeah. A lot of times the guys that, like you said, the guys that are on your team, or we have to replace them, right? And I think when we went into Fiscore in last year, and I partnered with Kevin. We're in small town USA. Obviously the guys are all on hourly. They just do mostly repairs and all these things. And, we got there and it's like, you can't just change it overnight. Like you can't just like fucking flip a switch. No, it doesn't work. No. But like, I remember we even partnered with Kevin, and Kevin's like, well, that won't work in this market. We can't charge that. We can't do this. Right. Yeah. And sometimes so like when we go back from conferences and all this stuff and we're like, I'm going to run through a wall. I'm going to do all these changes. Like when I first partnered with someone, I said, look, we don't change everything overnight. It's little by little, right? Get those 3 critical things or whatever it is that you want to start implementing. Take your time until those are implemented. Don't try to come in and say, they were changing the pay, the process, everything. And like, now we're a completely different business. And if you guys don't like it, get the fuck out. No. Right? Like as a business owner, you have to figure out and identify those key 3 things that are going to like start moving the business. Get those knocked out and then move on to the next ones. But it takes time. Like it took me about 5 months to get Kevin to buy into the marketing that we wanted to do and the things we want to do. And then all of a sudden, I remember when I went and we raised the prices like 40%. Like it was like we went from a $10,000 system to 20, almost 50, probably 50%, or 150%. And he's like, dude, I can't sell this. And the guys are like freaking out and they're going to him. And he's like, oh, the guys can, like, they can do it.
I know your story with Fiscore is unbelievable. I mean, like that is proof that your system works, that you sell right, you raise the prices, you change the operations, and that guy it changes life.
Yeah, and obviously it's something that's probably what I'm most proud about. Like even through the coaching, same like you do, man. Like watching contractors' lives change because of you is something that like I get more. I don't really care. I love money. Okay, don't get me wrong. I do love money, right? But it's not what drives me anymore. Like when you start having a bigger purpose and like being able to watch these guys to be successful and it changes their life, and they call you 6 months from now and said, I'm so fucking glad that I signed up for your program or did this or whatever it is. That shit gets me more excited. Or a sales rep went to one of my trainings and, we had a guy, I had a training about 2 months ago and he went back and he had an all-time company record month in October. And he's like, dude, it changed my life. I never thought I would sell 100 grand. I sold 300 grand.
Yeah. Is this the guy that bought that beautiful house that you shared?
No, that's one of my top guys.
Okay,
Donnie's been slanging since,
I know your post was the first house. The first house is like a mansion.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous house.
Yeah. He's, the crazy thing about Donnie is, I like my sales guys to like nice shit. I want to, the more nice shit they have, the harder they're going to work. But so Donnie, and he probably listen to this, but Donnie freaking, he moved to, I convinced him to move to where Fiscore is at. He was living, I think, in New Mexico. And so I convinced him through social media and I recruited him over, got him to move out there. And he's like, I've been following you for all these years. I'm going to come work for you. And so he comes out there and his family move into this tiny little house. So the first apartment they can get is this tiny place. Well, every weekend since he's been here, they've rented an Airbnb to go hang out. And I'm like, I finally was like, Donnie, dude, you can't be like, you gotta get a house. Like, I mean, you're spending thousands of dollars a month on freaking Airbnbs. Like, this is insanity. Yeah. So yeah, watching him go, and he came in, and I told him what we were gonna do, and we got there. Like the business was like probably a $500,000 a month business, and I said, look, I'm gonna give you the opportunity. And now he's had a couple months in the $600,000 sales months, and I think he's gonna be our first $1 million a month sales guy.
Amazing.
And he's just a tech. He's a selling tech.
Yeah.
He's not running leads. He's out there running his own calls and selling them. And so like that kind of stuff is awesome.
Good job, Donnie.
Yeah,
good job, Donnie.
Yeah, whatever. Sell more.
I think going back to the sales conference, like why don't people want to do sales, especially the techs? They're not motivated to do, to upsell, or they feel like it's salesy. for a long time, there's a period where like the guy was a sleazy sales guy, right? And they look at them being successful and they're like, I hate that guy and I don't want to be that. And the longer the company keeps that person who is generating a lot of revenue, but is not doing right by the customer and ruins the culture, the longer you keep that guy, the more these other people who maybe would potentially want to sell, they hate it and they hate him. So when he leaves, and you say, look, it doesn't need to be that way. I'm sorry we kept him in so long. Our problem, gone. Now it's your time. Let's do it the right way.
A lot of people think it's like, dude, it's really not selling. If you like, there's a reason why my companies get so many 5-star reviews and customers refer us. Like, we're more expensive, all these things, but we just follow a meticulous process every time to where, it makes it a no-brainer to go with us. And we don't have to lie, steal, and cheat, right? There's too much honest money to be made in this industry. And a lot of people, when they first come to my sales training, they think I'm coming in to tell them all this stuff and to lie and steal and cheat and all that. I'm like, no,
I just watched your sales training for an hour, right? It was phenomenal. And you didn't talk about sales. You talked about a process by which you and the customer arrive at the same conclusion based off of what you're seeing. Right? It wasn't like, hey, I have the Super System 2000 for you, like the
lifetime warranty.
Lifetime warranty.
And if you don't buy today, you're gonna die.
Your system was so pragmatic that it just, the natural conclusion is, you have an R22 system from 1990s. We need to upgrade this, right? But the customer would arrive on that based off of your inspection of the house.
I mean, our goal, your job isn't to sell; it's to educate, right? And be educated. And if you make it the customer's decision, the sale's easy, right? When you try to force things down their throat and tell them you got to buy a new unit because the compressor is bad, right? I hate nothing. So like, if you're a technician, a selling tech, if my guys are not allowed to quote unless they have repair options. I don't care if the unit's on fucking fire. You're going to get them all the parts to rebuild that on fire unit. I'm going to call, well, it's 20 years old. Okay, call and find the heat exchanger. Get them price and know what it's going to be. So many people, they put people against the wall. When you're against the wall, it's fight or flight.
It's totally.
Right? So like, I'm like, if they call me like, hey, this guy, I'm like, did you get, where's the repair options? I don't see it in there.
Right.
Okay, well, we're not quoting.
I just looked at this. I looked at what this thing is called, this phenomenon. It's called psychological reactance. And basically, when you feel like you're pushed against the wall, your cortisol spikes and you go into fight or flight. And that is when you feel like you have to make a binary decision, either yes or no. And you're going to choose no because it's fear-based. The way that you're presenting it is that it's option-based. And if it's option-based, hey, you could do this, you could do this. I'm here for you no matter what you choose. This is what I recommend. But the option is you. And that spikes the dopamine.
And I talk about it even through our process a lot. I'm like, I don't care if you go with me or anybody else. I just want to make sure you're getting it done the right way. I want you to be educated. So when the other guy comes out here, at least make sure that he's going through all this stuff. And, I always like, without like saying you have to buy, like I just kind of like make it to where it's like, oh, I would love you to buy, but my main thing is educating.
So we say there's 2 phases of the first piece of the call, like the spiking dopamine when trying to build rapport. It's trust and ability and trust and character. A lot of these guys, there's trust and ability. A lot of these guys are good technically. They could do the work, but the character is, you have to figure that one out because that is just straight up building a relationship with the customer. So I'll give you an example. I have a 1950s house. There's single pane windows, like the old school ones. So we just got windows replaced. This guy comes in, I'm not home, and he's looking around the house. Oh, this is a nice house, 1950s house. Do you live here alone? That's what he told my wife. Do you live here alone? And he ran the call for 90 minutes and he probably thought he smashed it. But my wife texted me on minute 1 and saying, do I live here alone? Where's my kid? Where's the dog? Like, so, what a weird thing to ask.
I'll tell you a funny story. So, back in, I think it was 20, I don't know. It was like, I just got to Home Comfort and I recruited my brother to come work over there. My brother, Mike. And Mike just went through training and he goes to run his first call, right? And he goes to, it's a Lowe's tune-up. And I'm his manager technically at the time. And he goes, he's running the call and we get a call into the office. This customer's fucking furious, freaking out. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, this customer said your brother's creeping him out. I'm like, oh fuck, like, what did he say? So he's out there on the tune-up and he goes and he's going and he turns the thermostat on and it's an old lady by herself. He's like, so are we alone here? And keep in mind, my brother's 6 foot tall, bigger dude, and he's in a hallway with this old lady. So I remember I ran out there and she's like, I don't want you in the house either. You're like, I was like, oh, this is all fucking bad. His first call you ever run is asking, are we alone here? Are we alone here? So I make fun of him all the time for that. It's kind of funny you said that.
So it's a similar situation. So even if you ran the sales call perfectly, after that point, you're dead Because no matter how good the deal was, it wouldn't matter to my wife, who's like, what a weird question. And this is the biggest piece, which is anybody would rather say, hey, this guy gave me a much lower price. He's been in business 20 years, but I got bad vibes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's option one. Option two is the price was a little higher than we thought. The company's been around for 5 years, but what a great company. What a great guy. Everybody's going with the second guy. So that just proves right there that you don't need the price, because if the guy's weird, it doesn't matter. Are we alone?
Are we alone? Yeah.
Why did he say that?
We talk about.
Why were the parameters of that?
I think he was nervous.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, to this day, he's kind of. I mean, if you know Mike, he's a little weird. But yeah. So I mean, we talk about it like on our process. Like the number one goal is like, don't throw up any red flags.
Yes.
Right. Don't throw up red flags. And like when you go on a tune-up or something, like don't talk about replacement in the first 15 minutes. Don't talk about like. So like we always talk about like when I go to a call and I'm like, I noticed something. I see maybe the lights flicker when the unit turns on when you first fire it on. I said, does that normally happen? Oh, I'm glad you called us out. I'm going to put a little extra attention on that today and figure out what's causing that. Normally when I'm done with my tune-up, I get it to go away.
Yeah.
Is it going to go away for my tune-up? No. But in the customer's mind, it is going to go away during the tune-up.
Yeah, and you're exchanging something for the customer that seems like it's a favor.
I always make it feel like I'm going to do more than and keep in mind, when someone calls you out for a tune-up, that it's like, it's a... Nobody calls anybody. I don't call anybody out to my house unless there's a problem, period. Right. Okay. So that tune up is always there's something going on. Maybe it's like your car, right? The check engine light comes on. The first thing you do is go change the oil.
Yes.
And then you're going to find out the engine's blown. Right.
Sure. Right.
So it's the same thing. So like I try to tell my technicians, like the entire first like 30 minutes, we're just really just setting the precedent, getting them to like us, trust us, build a rapport, no red flags. And we get them to see that we're on their side, and then eventually they're gonna see it as we go through the process. We're gonna educate them all the things going on. Then they're gonna ask us what we should do, because now we're the professional.
Yes.
So past the sales point, let's talk about other stuff going on. Like
okay.
The state of the industry in general, like even the training side. Obviously, from the next start kicking out the PE groups. I don't know what your feeling is on PE or anything like that. To everybody their mom has a training group now, and everybody's trying to be in this industry. You want to talk a little bit about like what you're seeing in the fragmentation of the industry a little bit?
Yeah. So I think in the 90s, it was a couple big institutions that had a monopoly on this sales cycle, right? It was a guy in a truck, the chuck in the truck. And in the 90s, it was, this was revolutionary, right? Past that point, everybody's doing it. There's no shortage of people. Like the systems are totally saturated, as you said. And so somebody has to come in with new ideas, a new way to approach the market, which I think a lot of these coaches are coming in as an attempt to do that. Having said that, a lot of these guys are also far removed from being in a truck. Yeah. And I think the most important thing that you could do is, it's like my dad telling me how he used to advertise in the newspaper. It's like, okay, well, grandpa,
what's working in 2025?
Yeah, right. What's working in 2025? These people go out into the van. Go out into the van, go write it. You think you have a good sales process? Go do it. Okay, go do it. Go check it out. See if it's true. If it's not true, change your mind. But yeah, I mean, there's been some amazing people to come out of the new wave. Obviously, Tommy Mello, Lance Bachman, you.
And I see it too, though. Even in the events, right? Like, the old guard, the industry events. Like, there was a recent one that I've heard that used to be a big event. I think it was actually my first event I ever went to.
It was horrible.
Nobody there.
No, 50, 100 people.
Yeah. And obviously, throwing an event space, and just so you know, I will never ever throw a big event again. Just so you guys know, they don't make money. Okay. If you guys think these guys are making money, they're not. Even, talking to Lance and how much money he lost on his first event with 800 people there, 900 people there, still lost money, right? Like, it's kind of crazy. But I think it's just a new excitement. I think that, I really pride myself in getting people excited about the trades again. The same with Tommy and Ishmael and you guys. It's like really getting the next generation excited about the trades again. And you go to the older conferences and everybody's like uppity tight, fucking.
Dude, it's suit and ties and dress shoes from Payless, and they look like AT&T salesmen.
Dude, you can't be real. And I think that's like when I first started my events, like that was before Tommy was doing them, before all these other guys were doing them, and I was the only one willing to go out there and do it. And everybody was fucking making fun of me and all this shit. And I still remember it because Tommy spoke at my event. All these guys spoke at my stage. Yeah. And then, fast forward now, they all have their own events, and, Vic's not invited. So it's all good. I know how it goes. But, Tommy's had me on a couple of his events, but like now I'm kind of like a fucking outcast in the group now. But I just see like a lot of it is like, I don't care who they are, as long as they're getting, as long as they're following through and doing what they say they're going to do. But also like all the like bringing energy back to the trades. We need more people in the trades, period.
Yes.
And that's what I like most about it. These events now are fucking crazy. I mean, we got, I'm not going to Lance. I'm speaking at Lance Bachman's event, which is probably one of the best events of the year. I love Lance and what they're building with it. I'm excited to be on the stage with them. But with it, like, dude, they got fucking Tim Tebow's gonna be there, Jesse Cole, we got
UFC
freaking
fighter.
UFC fighter.
Yeah.
You got UFC fighters. We got Tom Howard. Like this event's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't got your tickets yet, this podcast should come out before that. So it's Marco Island, December
3rd to 5th, I think.
I think 5th, and 4th through 6th or something like that. But you got to go check it out. It's called the Roofing Process Conference. He's getting ready to rebrand it as well.
I want to tell you a quick story about what you said. The detached coaches from the training companies. So after I left Nexstar, I ran a shop for a private equity group, and I was doing a lot of sales trainings. Obviously, that's what you have to do as a GM. And one of my guys, his name's Aaron. He's like phenomenal, one of my best friends. He said, "Hey, look, what you're saying, I understand in theory, but you're coming from a corporate world. You never went into the trenches. You don't know."
Yeah.
And at first I was like a little bit put off by it, but I reflected on it that night and I went to him. I was like, "Hey, you're absolutely right. You're right." And under him, I started doing ride-alongs. I started doing apprentice stuff. As the GM of the company, I went on lots and I was like, "Yeah, you're right. This doesn't work. Everybody's saying this, but that's not true. This is a different way to look at it." And from that, it made me much stronger to obviously get the opportunity to work with Tommy, to run a shop, for Next Level Pros. And that's what I think is missing. It's like, hey, let's align on reality. I know that you've been teaching this stuff for a while.
Dude,
get in a van.
Some of the stuff there, there's some trainers out there and then been doing it a long time, and I won't say names, but like, it's like, dude, that shit doesn't work.
No.
There's some there, there's a big trainer in the industry. Like, I'd like to go buy his companies or partner with companies that work with him, because I know there's a big gap of what we can do to improve it.
Yes.
And we see it almost instantly when we change the process. It's like, and so it's, if they can't go out and sell and do it that day, then that's probably not who you want to work with. Like, I enjoy going out in the field. Like, for me, I think the hardest part for me is having time, right? Like, obviously I'm running Rocket Group and now we're still doing training, and I try not to sell anything that I can't fulfill, right? And that's why we've kind of taken a lot of step back from the training side, and we're now hiring and bringing more people on, and we're going to be growing the whole training organization again and bringing it back, from where it was. But it's like, dude, some of these guys, it's like they're selling something they can't do. Like, they couldn't do it themselves, and then or they're just not going to fulfill it. And there's like a lot of training companies like the Elliots, right? Like, there's all these things that they sell everything, and I know people that work there, they sell all this shit, but they don't fulfill anything.
I mean, I don't know if they're doing business coaching or if they're just doing like mindset stuff, but
I don't know what the fuck they do, but
it's high energy.
It's high energy, and it gets you excited. And I like Andy, and he spoke at my events, and I've been out to his facility, and I think it's great.
Yes.
But I'm just not sure what the actually. So you got to figure out whoever you partner with or train with, have they done what you want to do first and foremost? Like, you got everybody and their mother. You got Grant Cardone and Brandon Dawson trying to get into the fucking trades. You got Hermosi was a fucking gym dude. Now he's a fucking home service specialist. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, if you haven't built a home service business, I don't want to fucking hear from you. I'm not fucking training with you.
Yes.
And I think, everybody sees the dollar signs, and of course they can go online. They sound great. And then you get in their program, and there's no actual shit that actually works. Like, show me the business you built in my space.
Yes. And that goes back to, there's no shortage of information, but there is shortage of knowledge of how to implement this into your business. And when you work with a guy like you, obviously you bring the knowledge and the implementation. It's the same thing with Next Level Pros, same thing with Tommy, same thing with Lance, same thing with a lot of these guys, but the outsiders just have the knowledge.
Yeah, they have the knowledge. And it's kind of funny because, like, I've been selling the Blueprint now since like 2022. I give them everything we do, every process, every procedure, all the stuff. And then, as they're like, well, it doesn't work. Well, how much did you implement, right? And I can track on the backside how much they use, they look into, and all this stuff. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I'm fucking tired. I'm just gonna go start partnering with companies and implement everything that's in the Blueprint.
Yeah.
And then we do it, and then the businesses grow like crazy. And they're like, well, how are you doing? I'm like, well, I told you everything to fucking do.
Yes. So there's an interesting thing. Like, is sales a science or is sales an art? I think it is an art, and it uses science. So, like, if you do what you're saying you're going to do, there's no subset of words that's going to give you 100% close rate, right? It's just not going to happen. But there is a format that sales is built on that will help you get to the 70-80% close rate, desired close rate.
Yeah.
The art is everything in between. It's how you make connections with people. It's how you look for clues in the house. It's how you build rapport. It's how you dress and walk in. And so I'll give you, can I tell you one story? I love this story. Okay, so I was in Canada. I was doing a coaching.
That's your first problem.
I was in Canada. They have nice maple syrup and the nicest people. Okay, forget the politics. Nicest people. You don't think Canadians are nice?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of Canadian clients. I make fun of them all the time.
Okay, yeah.
No, I've never been to Canada, but it's somewhere that I'd love to go check out.
Let's go. Let's go.
I gotta get my passport.
Okay, get your passport. Okay. Okay, so I'm up in Canada, and I go on a call. I'm in the van with my buddy Graham, and we go to some guy's house. We knock on the door. We're super polite. We park on the side just like you're supposed to. Hey, how's it going today? He's like, hey, system's around the back. Closes the door on us. I'm like, oh man, this sucks. So we go around the house. He comes out the back door. We're looking at the system. I'm like, what are you trying to do here? He's like, I want to put a mini split up here, and I'm not getting good airflow, whatever the issue is. And this guy, I was like, so it's a beautiful day. Like, I'm trying to, trying to get an in. The guy was like Stonewall. Like, he was just Stonewall. And so at this point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I want the sale. I want to impress the guy I'm with, show him that I could make this sale. But at this point, like, I don't even care about the sale. All I want to do is make this guy smile. If I could make him smile once, I win. That was the game, right? So we go into his house and I see a picture of The Witcher. Do you know what The Witcher is? It was a book that became a video game that became a TV series, okay? It's like a poster. So I go over, look at the poster and go, hey, did you like the video game better or the book? He's like, oh, the book was the best one. You don't even understand. They changed all the characters. They made him overpowered. He did the whole thing. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. He's like, you want to see something really cool? So then we go into his bedroom, and his bedroom had like this collection of Pokemon cards that were like perfectly graded. And obviously he wasn't married, right? They're Pokemon cards on the wall. And he was talking about the Pokemon cards in the most interesting way. He was talking about the model number, the serial number, the grading of them, where he got them from. And I was like, oh, this guy wants to talk about the system like he talks about Pokemon cards.
Details.
So then we talked about efficiency. We talked about SEER ratings. We were talking about why this R22 system is not good anymore. And we got the sale. He then flipped us to his mom, who was just the same kind of way. And it was a $50,000 job with a bathroom remodel. But the point of the story is that if I didn't look for the clue of The Witcher, and if I didn't think I just want to make this guy smile, you would have never been able to pass go.
Yeah.
So those are like the little things that you look at. Like, as you know, sales or in business, like, look around the world. The world is full of clues for you to experience things. It's full of plays for you to make connections with people, but you just have to look.
Yeah, I agree. So Trent, what's next? What's next for you guys at Next Level?
What's next for us? Well, we're building a world-class coaching and training facility. You've been on our podcast.
If you guys haven't been out there, you guys should definitely take the time. Trent, they're like got open doors out there. They made me some. I think they made me some ribeye steaks. Took me out, fed me real good.
Yeah.
Showed me around the facility. It's a really awesome place up in Washington. I love Washington too.
Thank you. No, we loved having you. Your podcast did really well. We loved having you there. It's a 22,000 square foot facility. There's a gym, a kitchen. We have our full podcast studio, and we just want to get back to the old days of really investing in trades companies to make them successful. But we're looking at it through the lens of this next generation. These techs are different than the techs of the 90s. Yeah. Right? They're motivated by different things. The lifestyle they want is different.
Well, the successful company is now in almost every market, or a young owner and operator, right?
That's right.
So our generation, the millennials, like, we want things faster. I don't have fucking 20 years to wait. Like, I want to get done in 3 to 5 years what it used to take 20 to 25 years. And how do we get there faster?
I was just looking at statistics. So the boomers are still making like 33% of like the purchasing power, but the millennials are like 29%. And that's a very interesting play. Like, the millennials are, they like and dislike different things than boomers. So that it has to change. Like, one of the slides I'm talking about today is that boomers really trust you worked for my neighbor 20 years ago. right? That means something to them. Like, hey, my Nancy worked with you, so I'm gonna give you a call. It's like, it's been 5 years. Well, she recommended you.
Yeah.
The millennials are a lot easier to get on demand calls. They're gonna click through Facebook and socials and digital, but they want more quotes. They're more untrustworthy of a guy who's coming into their house.
Yeah.
Because there's not a referral business. So how do you build a strategy that targets the buying patterns of millennials? It's a very interesting question.
No, and I would agree. And I've seen it and done in a lot of ways, right? Like one of my first clients, top line, Sam Matsuk, right? He's a 27-year-old kid. He's got an $80 million business.
Yeah.
And I still remember when we first started working with them and all these things, but they went 100% on the social media. Like they built this almost $90 million business in the last, since 2020, all through social media. And when they were able to figure out is they're a price based, right? Like they know that we got to get to a certain price point. So they built their entire business around that. Like, how do we negotiate every little detail down to the screws, the pieces, the parts that go into everything? How do we negotiate with our vendors? How do I cut out the vendor? How do I go direct to the whatever it is? And get to that cost where we know how we can sell. And they built a volume game, but that's just built on just strict automations. And there's literally like his employees. He doesn't need as many employees. He's found a way around that. He's found a way to make it more efficient. But they're at a 25% net on $80 million. And they all social media leads, and their average system sales probably $12,000.
Right.
Where like my system sells higher because I have all these other things that aren't built out the same
You have
way.
the overhead.
You have the overhead. So like there's some guys that are going to come in this industry, and the AI stuff over the next 5 years is really going to change. Like you're not going to have a call center of 40 people anymore. No. You don't fucking need it.
No.
And even like when I look in a business, how, rich people talk about how big of a business they have with as little amount of people. And I feel like during like the COVID boom, everybody's like, I got 100 employees. I got 200 employees. Everybody's bragging. If you're bragging about how many employees you have, you're usually fucking broke.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, there's really a smart operator and owner is like, how do I operate with the least amount of people with the most amount of production?
That's right.
And so I think that the guys that are going to come in and figure that stuff out, and with the AI and all the stuff that's coming in, now that big player can be priced around the same price as that small guy. Yeah. And now they're going to wipe them out. So like, if you're a small contractor, if you don't start integrating and growing, like if you don't grow now, but then you're going to be, I promise you'll be out of business. Like these small guys they're getting priced out. They can't compete. That their equipment price is higher, they're operating higher.
It's like evolution in real time. Like if you don't evolve or adapt right now, you're not going to evolve, and like you said, you're going to die off. Technology, the law of accelerating returns. It took us a long time to get the wheel, and then it took a very short time to get the bicycle, and now we have virtual reality. So you have to start adapting the technology into your business now. It's going to help with your overhead. The other piece to the game is it doesn't matter how many jobs you do if your margins suck.
Yeah.
Right. So you have guys that are doing like, I do so, just the way they brag about the overhead of their thing. It's like, I do so many jobs. It's like, well, you do so many jobs and you have no money.
I talked to a contractor the other day, and he's got this really big business, right? And from the outside, everything on social media looks great and all this stuff. And I've been there, right? Like you grow and everything looks good, and you're only caring about revenue. Revenue doesn't matter. Okay. So I go and I look at his books, and he's at $19 million in revenue. Great. I look at the bottom line, he's at 1% to 2%. Some months losing money. So I'm doing $19 million to make 2%, or I could be the business that's doing $10 million to make 25 to 30%. And which business do you want to be? So, pretty much like people I communicate to you that, Tommy's, all these guys, we don't talk about, obviously for me, I can talk about revenue because I have profit associated with it because I know we have a system.
Exactly.
Most guys, they have all this revenue, but they're not talking about the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's bank account accounting.
Yeah.
And so I was just a couple weeks ago doing an onsite for $100 million company, $100 million.
Losing their ass.
Losing their ass. But when we dug into the job costing for each job, they were secretly losing money on upsales. They weren't accounting for the labor of the upsell. So they're losing like $1,500 every single job.
And all these extra things.
Okay. So I was like, how did you not catch this? But they're doing $100 million. So they're getting millions and millions of dollars every month. They're doing top line bank account accounting and saying, well, the money's there. And meanwhile, there's actually less than zero money.
Well, if you're not, that's one of the first things we do with a business. If they're on a cash accounting, we move into accrual, right? Like that's the only way to see the true profitability. And you said job costing. So many guys don't do job costing. We do daily job costing. I know by the time that job's done, how much money we made, what went into it, all that stuff. And it's so important. Like some of you guys don't do job costing or do check a P&L for fucking 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, the game, you've already fucking lost 2 months in a row and you can't go back and change the score. Like we look at it as we're doing daily job costing. We're doing weekly, daily and weekly P&Ls. So we're tracking, like we have this what's called a break even calculator. And we know exactly what day of the month we break even so that we know we're into hyper profit. So we get all any job we get in, all that GP is going to the bottom line. But we have a tracker like down to the T. So like we celebrate, hey, we're one way away from breaking even. Boom. Now we know that we can go just try to get as many jobs and push in before the end of the month. But some guys don't even know that. They don't know, they might have already hit the end of the month and or whatever, that they're facing to lose money that month. They don't know it.
No. And that's where you have leading indicators and you have lagging indicators. A leading indicator is like what you do during the day, and the lagging indicator is what shows up on the P&L. So we know multiple options, offering financing, 90 minutes or more in the house has a positive correlation to a higher close rate, which then shows up on your P&L, right?
Yeah.
So if you're doing, so the point of that is that the leading indicators are literally controllable. If today you are not making your margin on each job, you could today go and fix those things.
Yeah.
You could either increase your price, lower your labor, change the material. Do you find another distributor or negotiate the deal with the manufacturer? You could go change those things and go get more money. But people are just looking at the lagging indicators. They're looking at the P&L, as you said, 3 months after the fact and going like, oh, this sucks. It's like, yeah, it sucks because you're not doing the work. Again, there's no shortage of information. You could just go ChatGPT what margin should be. You need to know how to implement this.
Yeah, what to do about it.
What to do about it.
Yeah,
and don't be passive in your business.
Well, you also can't, a lot of guys, they make the mistake of going and hiring some CPA they know that did bank keep or bookkeeping for a fucking gym or for another, small business. And you have to know the trades. Like we use a company called Pivotal, and they've been the best accounting firm that I've dealt with. And they're outside accounting firm. They do accounting for all of our locations. I know real time. I get my numbers on time. I know exactly where we're at. And, obviously when we integrate with them right away, because we know that our numbers have to matter. Our numbers should be first. Like I want more bean counters than I want anything else. Like I want to know exactly where every dollar is so I can know what to pivot, what buttons to push. And then it becomes a game, because then you're like, I pick up a point here and I pick up a point here. Now all of a sudden, now I got boom. Now my bottom line's where I need to be. And the guy, that $19 million company, right? And we talked to him and said, this is what we need to do. We built him out a new budget for $10 million. You're a $10 million business. If we exceed that, great, but we're going to budget for $10 million. And we broke down his marketing and where it needs to be. We went through his whole price book and rebuilt out his entire price book for him. And he's like, holy shit. He's like, I can't charge that. I said, well, you now know that you have to charge that. It's not, I can't, I have to, or I don't stay in business. Like when everybody's like, when you get smacked in the face of reality, like you have no choice, but sometimes you don't even know what's going in it. So you feel like you're ripping people off. Yeah. It's because you haven't really looked in the numbers and realized, no, you're getting ripped off.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So,
and you said it exactly right. It's like a game. You pick up a point here, lose a point here, get 3 points here. That is you should play it like a game, and you should play it where you are the architect of the game, not the player. Yeah. The player is bound by the rules. The architect creates the rules. So you're not a prisoner in your business. Yeah. Anything that you want to change, you could just change. How to change it, you want to talk to guys.
Well, like that one guy, like I always, and if you're listening, I said this at an event before, but if you guys understand, your business is your business, right? And everybody, I go to every business I go into, they have that one guy they don't like in their business. Yeah. Like they fucking, you're like fucking walking on eggshells in your own business around that guy, right? And you guys are probably listening to that and you're thinking of that guy right now. Fire that motherfucker. That was one of the things. Like I was so scared. I used to be so scared to fire people and like and all this stuff. And then once you do, and like the whole culture changes.
I was at a shop yesterday, and this guy said, every day I wake up and I love my business, except a couple months ago I had this guy and I really didn't want to see him. And it just made me not like it.
You didn't want to come into work.
So he's like, what should I do? And I was like, I just fired him and I feel better now. It's like, okay, good.
No, it's funny. I've actually probably been the cause of a lot of firings because that's the exact same thing I said. I think a lot of people are like, you know what, fuck that guy. I'm going home. Yeah. This is your business. You got to love it. You want to watch your baby grow, right, and be successful. And we just gotta make sure we understand the numbers. And the problem is most of us were technicians and sales reps, and then we had an entrepreneurial seizure. Now we're running a business, and we don't know those little intricacies. You have to change your mindset. I'm not a technician. I'm not a sales guy anymore. I'm not an installer. I am a business owner, and I have to run it like a business.
And most of the time, businesses are like cobbled together because, as you just said, you're a tech that becomes a sales guy that says, "Okay, I'll just do it," and you don't know the process. So you just cobble things together to make it work. But the businesses that the private equity groups are doing are businesses by design, right? They have a plan, they build budgets, they build pro formas, and they know where they're going. They already have an infrastructure. So if you want to compete at that level, you have to be very organized. I mean, these guys, these private equity groups they have God money, right?
Yeah.
They have unlimited resources. So how can you have that level of sophistication, but don't lose the personal feel? Because I really do hate that. I'll tell you right now, when the guys whose shops are owned by private equity groups come into your house and they do hey, I'm here to do a thorough evaluation and and they're talking to you for 15 minutes at the door before they even help you. It's just like, you know what? I hate you. I don't even care what you sell. Yeah. I hate you. And I think it makes everybody sound like that person at the airport who's like, sir, we're going to monitor this call for quality assurance. I'm going to read you this brief statement. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I need to talk to a person.
So I was actually, we were at the office late last night and I was making some reels and they'll probably be out before this podcast. And I was like, I was pretending I was a private equity guy. And I was like, you know what? This business is a great business, been around for 60 years. They take care of their customers, their employees. They treat everybody great. You know what we should do? We should come in and fuck it all up. we're gonna cut everybody's pay. We're not gonna take care of anybody. We're gonna fucking and just really just understanding that. So we got to wrap up the podcast. Okay. Trent, obviously we could probably sit here and talk all day, but first off, I want to say thank you for coming out to the event, coming to speak to our people, your wealth of knowledge. What they're doing at Next Level. Make sure to reach out to them. Obviously, I look at this and they're a competitor to what we do at Profit Rocket. At the end of the day, there's abundance mindset. I think that what they train on is great. What we train on is great. And I think that you should also look at multiple different, so many people are like, I'm a BDR person or I'm a Nexstar person. And I don't give a fuck what anybody else says, dude. Everybody brings something else to the table. And I used to invest in different trainers. I've had Joker Sarah, I've had Jason Walker, we were at Nexstar, and I've been in all parts of these things. And you take little bits and pieces and you figure out what meshes with your business. And I think that's really the power of where it grows. And whether you go with me or not, like, I'm an open door. If you guys are listening to this podcast and you guys want to come and see what we're doing at Fiscor, come see our operation, come see our business, come meet with us, come out anytime. And same thing with them. If you ever want to go out to Washington, check out Next Level, hit up Trent. He'll invite you out, and you guys can check out and see what they're doing. They're a great organization. We're a great organization, and we work together is what helps bring the industry up. So, Trent, thank you for coming on. Any last things you want to leave the audience?
The only thing I just reciprocate a compliment. You are a titan in this industry. You do have the abundance mindset. And I think that is something that we're all missing. The good people, whoever all the good people are. Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of bad people. There's a lot of bad people. A lot of bad people.
Calm it down over there, Trumpy.
Having said that, the good people, let's all come together and build this industry. And thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate
awesome.
it.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to hit like and subscribe to our podcast. We're going to be coming out every week with a new one. As I always say, business is a sport. Let's go win the game.